Let's make an ephemera book from some scrapbook paper. So I have this scrapbook paper laying around. It's single-sided. I've seen everybody making these ephemera little booklets, and I have yet to try to make one. So I'm hoping that you all will help me out in this if I have any issues, but I think it's pretty easy. I think you're supposed to leave like one page white from what I've seen. Like I watched so many videos, I can't really credit anyone on how to make these, but this was the simplest one that I saw. So I'm using, because I'm going to use my sewing machine. So I'm using 1, 2, 3 pages in each one. One of these is thicker than the other one though. So this is like a thicker page. This is thinner. So let me take this out and I'll put it in this one. And basically, I'm just going to keep it super easy. Sorry about the camera. I think it's bouncing around for some reason. It shouldn't be. I set it to where it shouldn't. I shouldn't be having any kind of issue with this. All right, so I just have to decide. Do I want to keep it tall, which, would be fine, or do I want to make it smaller? I think I'm going to keep them tall. Why add to the drama of everything, right? So that is a little crooked. But hey, once it gets stuck, you'll never even see it. That's how I'm going to roll today. So I'm going to make 2 of them because I'm going to be stitching through. Alrighty. And let's see. I've got a little flamingo theme going on here just because. I'm going to try 2 different ones. I found this. These are report covers and they're a lot thicker. So I think they're going to be nicer, to be honest. And then I'm going to I'll start with the inside page. And I think I want to do like, how big would that be? I'm just going to use this as my ruler. I think I'm going to do a 2-inch on the bottom, 2-inch pockets. So if I'm doing 2-inch pockets, I'm going to line it up there and cut through that. I'll do 3 of these and then 3 for the other one. I'm going to cut this down to 6 inches. That looks a little skinny. See, these I think are going to be harder. Okay, so this then is 1.5, and this will be, I'll be able to stitch this on like, I think I'll just keep it 1.5. 1.5. And I don't know, do I want to put some washi on the top edges, make it look nicer? I don't know. What do you guys think? Or do you think that's going to detract away from 1.5, detract away from the stuff that I put in there? And I was going to do these single little things, but I'm kind of thinking I'm going to keep them together because they're very flimsy. Well, the page protectors are very flimsy. And I may end up doing washi over the edge just to keep them together, putting my ephemera in and out. I think they're just going to be too flimsy. So let's just go in and just do some washi tape, and then I will be back. I'm just going to washi tape. Plus that's going to help me see it on the paper, I think, too. So I'm just going to do the one edge, and then I'm going to stitch on, that'll help me too, know to just stitch on the 3 sides. And yeah, and that'll help me see where the pockets are. So I will be right back after I do this. Okay, so I am back, and I took those and I cut them down to 5 7/8 because this is 6 inches across, and I found that if I did them a little bit smaller, then I wouldn't have the issue at the crease. So then what I did on the bottom was I cut them down to that same size. I didn't cut that one yet. I cut them down to the same size, but I left the slit, like the edge here, so where it's attached, and then I just slid them over the page like this, and I glued down here at the bottom and up the side, and I did the same thing over here. I glued here and here, and that gave me these nice bottom pockets. And now that's not going to stay because I know it's acetate, so I'm going to have to go back in and do a straight stitch, but it will hold it until I get that straight stitch done. And so I am going to do those. I'll show you how I did that. I don't know why my camera is having such a problem with focusing. It's just having such an issue, and I don't know why. Alrighty, so what I did was cut it down to 5 7/8 because that's the size of my page. You're going to want to cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller, and then I went and I just glued. Oh wait, that's the top. I won't leave that. There's like this weird notch on these protectors here, the report covers. And then I'm gonna do down one side just like that. So, and then I'm gonna line it up on the bottom of the page, and I'm going to just lightly press, and I'm going to then fold it over, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side like that, and lightly press that down also like so. And then later I'm going to go in and I will stitch around that. So let's do that again. I'm going to just go around the bottom edge. This is the bottom edge, and then up the side. Oops, I did it on the wrong one. Doesn't matter. And then I'm going to fold it over the edge, lining up the bottoms, pushing it in, and I'm going to do the same thing on here. I'm going to, so that way it's going to give a nice edge on the side of your thing too at the bottom. I think that'll strengthen the bottom of my little ephemera book. Now these have these weird little notches, and I think what I'm going to have to do for that is put a little piece of washi. I think once I stitch over it, it'll be fine. But there's like this little weird notch on them. Okay. Because they're report covers. So that is how we're going there. And then what I'm going to do here for the shorter pockets is I am going to, well, I might as well just leave it out because I need to use it. Okay. I'm going to then decide where I want to put them on here. And I'm looking for my ruler. And I'm going to leave, this is 12 inches, so I want to leave about 2 inches on top of that because I want to put my big ephemera at the bottom. But then I need to leave room for these. So if I have 2 inches away from that, that leaves me that. Then I can leave 1.5 inches, and then I can leave 1.5 inches. Is that going to be good? No, that's kind of, that is kind of, I think I'm going to leave 1 inch. Let's go down here, 1.5 inches, 1 inch in between, and 1 inch, and that leaves me space on the top. Or 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, and then 1.5 inches. So I need to do 1.5 inches from the top, and that leaves me space at the bottom. So what I'm going to do here is take my pencil and I'm going to make a notch on these. Like so, yeah. And then I'm going to do it on the same thing over here. I'm going to just do a notch at the 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, and I'm going to do 1.5 inches all of my, oh, I did too many. It's all right. Okay, I need to take out the one that's in between. Okay. And then, does that line up with this over here? I don't know. That doesn't look like that's lining up. Maybe I didn't do my marks right. Nope. So let's go 1.5 inches. And 1 inch. Right, and then there. All right. Okay. And I'm just going to do the same thing that I did, except I'm going to have to go around all 3 sides this time. But you know what? I want to decide what I want where. If I do that there, that there, and that there, like so. Okay. So there's that. And then the one at the top, I'll do a striped one. And I'm only going to do the sides because, like I said, I'm going to be stitching these. So there's that. And let's do this one. And we're going to line that up there. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and then I'm going to move on and do the rest of the pages, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. So I'm going to do them all just like this, and I'll come back and show you how they turned out. Okay, so I'm back from my sewing machine, and I'm going to tell you what I did and a couple of things that I learned. Definitely glue them down to your page before you are going to sew, because when I ended up having, like, some of the glue came up, they ended up getting all like wonky, and the ones that stayed with the glue down I was totally okay with, and this one got a little wonky. So they do come up while you're trying to stitch on them. Yeah, so definitely glue. Another thing that I did when I stitched that I learned was I stitched a U all the way around the outside edge. Then after I did that, I went back and I did the inside edge in a U like that. And then what I did was I started stitching all the way across and then on to the next page. So like this in my sewing machine. So I stitched like this all the way down, all the way down, all the pages. and then I went in and I snipped, and then I took it back again and I went all the way down, like lined up all the pages. And then I did that all the way here. So those three, and then it went so much faster, and then I just snipped it. And then I took the 3 pages and I stacked them all up, and then I stitched down right down through the center, and that made my book. So what helped me was clipping the 3 pages together before I did the center, and that kept them all lined up. And then after I did that, I went back and took the clips off, and I went and I started to cut all the threads off. Something like this, it's not, and then if there were any that kind of went over the edge, I just went in and clipped the edges a little bit. But I ended up going back and cutting all the threads because I don't like having threads hanging on a project like this. And I think what I'm going to end up doing too is rounding my corners, because I'm kind of that person that likes rounded corners on my books. I just think that the edges of the book don't see, like these are over a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to clip this threads, any threads that I see. The book, come back here, take out any threads. Oh, and the other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the longest thread length that your sewing machine will let you use, because that way it'll slide right over those page protectors pretty easy if you use a longer thread length. And you'll have to look that up, for every manufacturer is different for their sewing machine. And I would have shown you how I sewed this, but I can't get myself, I'm not in the proper camera to show you how to to angle my camera where my sewing machine is. So that's how come I didn't do that, or I would have if I could have, but I don't have that set up. One day I will be in my permanent craft room and I will be able to do that. Okay, so clipping, and I'm glad that I kept these 12 inches high. And I don't know, I may end up sewing them in a bigger book. I don't know. It just depends on how full they get, or I may not. I may just keep it simple. It's just for me. So, you know, it doesn't matter to me, as long as I just have some storage. And I was using a paper that I'm not going to use, and it's single-sided, so that worked. And yeah, and then the other thing that helped, I'm glad that I came in and did this, because it did help my sewing machine go through, especially at the start. I'm glad I went in and did, and it also will help me find the edge of the page. And so let's see how these work. Let me get some ephemera, because right now I've got all these trays and I've just been digging through, and these are the labels from days gone by, and there's several colorways, and I have so I'm going to put the bigger ones down here on the bottom, and then put the smaller ones up above it, and labels, the big labels over here, and then the medium. Yeah, that is that. Okay, I think I'm going to love this. Now I know why everybody's busy making these, because this is pretty cool. Just saying. Just going to continue to keep this stuffed, and yeah, so I hope you do give it a try. I think it's going to be good. I'm going to be able to see it better, and I don't know. I know some people, I don't know. I'm still going to have to sort, or if I just end up going back and just doing, like some people do, just put one like this and one like that, and one like there. And so I don't know. That's an option too. If I decide I'm going to, that I want to make more, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I may I may just keep the numbers in the tins. Like I said, I'm just trying this out. See, these are all very itty bitty. So I don't know. And I think they might fall out of that place up there. I don't know. So I may keep the numbers. Maybe I just keep the numbers in there. All right, I will just continue stuffing these, and I will be back.